Hey guys, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are going to be talking about, um, well, Miraculous again. I'm going to be continuing to talk about the future of Miraculous, specifically about um, these few panels at the very beginning of the comic, where Master Fu is explaining to Marinette the idea of abstract creatures. Basically, the way that they explain abstract creatures is that they say that um, our senses cannot detect them, and we mistakenly believe that they don't exist. And then Ways lists off a few: fairies, ghosts, muses, and kwamis. Now that's an important thing to just keep in mind, because these four beings are actually important to some of the future Zag heroes. Specifically, we we already know that Kwamis is the Miraculous, everything that we deal with in Miraculous. But we also know that these other ones are going to be showing up in the future. Fairies will be showing up in Pixie Girl, because Pixie Girl is actually a fairy who or they say pixie, um, but it's still she's a fairy. Let's just be clear on that. Pixies and fairies are the same thing. Period. But apparently, she can transform into a humanoid superheroine with Mother Nature powers to save New York from witches. Now, this is important because it means that Pixie Girl could actually share a universe with Miraculous. The only thing is that if these shows are going to be sharing a universe with the Miraculous, then we actually need to have some confirmation. Specifically, what I talked about in my last video about how there are a few characters in the comics, specifically the gangsters, that if these guys show up, then that means that these are the same universe, which is huge. It would be, um, even though these shows still have a long ways to go before they actually come out, sadly, it does mean that we can actually say with some certainty that these shows will be in the same universe. Unfortunately, we don't have much information. So, since we know that, we can actually say that um, the fairies are invisible to human eyes unless they have the ability to transform into um, into humans, and that would explain why she becomes a superhero. But here's the other thing: if this is Pixie Girl and Ghost Force are very likely characters that don't even show up until the comics, until after the comics take place, um, or at least this comic, because the fact that if you actually, if you guys have your comic books, you can actually go to, let me make sure that I have the correct page. Um, One of the last pages, I believe it's one of the last pages, don't worry about it. They actually show a whole bunch of superheroes flying in, and you cannot see anywhere any of the heroes that we see in this one. Now, it's very likely that some of these heroes that are off in the distance could very easily be Ghost Force and Pixie Girl. But I do want to say that, as of now, it's very likely that these characters are in the future. They're post the point of this comic. So, yeah. And keep in mind, we haven't actually gotten any confirmation that uh, these characters major players. I don't know how to say this. Basically, these characters could appear, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. They could have appeared previously, but most likely we'll see that this is taking place after Trash Kraken. And the same kind of goes for Melody. So, yeah. So, obviously, the fairies are Pixie Girl, and they can just grow in size and become humanoid and become superheroes, obviously. Ghost Force. Let's actually talk about this one. So, in Ghost Force, I'm inclined to think that they don't exactly explain too much. Basically, here's what the synopsis is. 3 high school kids working as a team of superheroes in the Ghost Force secretly fight against ghosts that haunt their town in wacky comedic fashion. With inherent desire to troublemaking, the ghosts, which are invisible to the human eyes, will fight as fuel to increase their power and ability to affect the world around them. Our heroes have no choice but to put their daily lives on hold in order to ghost power up and restore the city to their normacy before citizens catch. Yeah, they didn't do a good translation of this, but basically what this sounds like is that these kids gain their powers from special ghosts that have decided that they want to help. And obviously, this means that these are not the gangsters, because these are high schoolers. So, there's that. Now, it's also possible that Pixie Girl, since it's taking place at the same time, could very easily be taking place with Pixie Girl as in her human form would probably go to the same school as the Ghost Force. And we would just see little branches off every now and again where they or branches together where they team up together. But we'll see what happens. I'm kind of thinking that it won't be happening very much, but we'll see what happens. After all, New York is a pretty big place. So that takes care of the ghosts and the fairies, but Melody is going to be taking up the spot for muses. So they don't give any information about stuff right away. Believe it or not, the main character, Melody, is just wanting to be a musician, and she's inspired by some character called Rose Stellar. But then they have the music notes, which are a group of magical creatures in the movie. It's unknown what their role is in the film. That's what they say on the wiki, on the Zag wiki. Now, I'm thinking that these creatures are the muses. Because, yeah, there's some connection. It's complicated. They don't specifically mention it. They just have the little thing. And basically all it is we see these little artwork where we see Melody. In a lot of the pictures, we see Melody talk with these musical note creatures. And we also see artwork where they're around other creatures. So, yeah. So that takes care of those 3 creatures. Now I'm wondering how much of this stuff is actually going to be connecting to the events of the other Zag Heroes shows. Now, there has not been much confirmation saying that these all take place in the same universe. Zach Storm has never once mentioned anyone that was from the Miraculous universe or from really any of these universes. The only thing that is kind of important is that there is a ghost that is completely visible to everyone else, which, considering the fact that this is the 7 seas of the Bermuda Triangle, it actually makes sense that they would have something there. But yeah, that's a bit complicated, to say the least. Um, there are two shows that also are kind of important. There's Gaijin, which I'm going to say that this is they have some information, but not enough in my opinion. Basically, what I want to say is that this is going to be the origins of how the Kwamis, as well as the Muses and the fairies, became corporeal or something like that. Maybe the fairies we can like see, they'll see, but like this is going to be the introduction of the wizard who created the miraculous jewels. And then Tales of Fairygon is going to be about a character who's going to be saving fairies. But both of these shows take place years before now. There's no other shows that necessarily what we see now actually look like they're going to be far, far in the future. No, there's nothing. But we do see some stuff with Miss Rose being in London, as well as another show, which for some reason they don't actually have it on the wiki as super easy to find. I don't know why. It's something about knights, and it looks really cool, but I don't know why they don't have it on the wiki. There's a few other places as well, but I'm not going to get too into that because a lot of these things are kind of ridiculous. But it's definitely something to just have in mind, because a lot of these shows could very easily connect to our to the future of Miraculous. There's not many that are like, oh yeah, this is totally going to connect, because we've gotten actual confirmation in the comic or the show, except for one. There is a show that could very easily connect to the Invaders. Now, there isn't much, but apparently this is going to be a shorter show that has like 11-minute episodes, but it's going to have a long freaking time. But it looks like this could actually be something that would connect eventually to that could very easily connect to the Invaders, because it's going to be dealing with aliens. But that's about it. That's the only one that we've gotten any confirmation that it, or anything in the show that could easily connect to this. And like I said, only 3 shows by Zagtoons actually directly connects to anything in the comic, which is, again, Pixie Girl, Ghost Force, and Melody. So, I don't know. If you guys are interested in these shows, then definitely do your own research, because I can't do enough research right now. But definitely take a look, see what you guys think about these things, and definitely, if you guys are interested, then please let me know down in the comments, and I'll see if I can do more videos about this stuff. But right now, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Definitely, if you guys can help me out with figuring out what exactly could at least give us some information about the connections to reconnect the Miraculous universe, that would be awesome. But anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts. And also, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell, because it helps me out a ton. And, of course, check out all of my links down in the description, because I chat over on almost all of those places all the time, except for the Facebook. But, yeah. Anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-on!